Okay, so welcome to another episode of Rum and Reasoning.
Rum and Reasoning.
You know what time it is?
Yep.
It's me, Ziggy Moore, more education, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's another one of yours today, right?
This is one of mine today. Yeah,
Go
I've
talk to me.
It's the big boy.
Okay.
It's the big boy because we've had some Jamaican rum slander.
Oh, get on with it, bruv. Come on, man. Stop this
don't
nonsense,
don't
man.
rush me.
It's the big boy.
Listen, you can see where it is. Don't rush me.
Go on.
Okay.
Appleton, estate.
It's not Apple. It's not only Apple and estate. Those who know. By the way, I just want to let you know.
I don't know, bruv. You're gonna have to educate me.
I went to the Apple and estate.
Okay.
In St. Elizabeth, Jamaica.
Did you know?
To purchase this. I didn't. Enough man purchased it at the airport. I didn't purchase it at the airport.
You went
to the Appleton estate.
Okay.
In St. Elizabeth. I got two. So.
Is that where it is in St. Elizabeth?
Yes.
Near Junction.
He's trying to go on. Give me another place in St. Elizabeth.
There is nowhere else in St. Elizabeth, bruv. Trying to go on like some huge place.
It's not brilliantly close to Junction, but this is.
Let me see the bottle.
This is the creme de la creme.
It's a nice bottle.
No, man, this is it. This is it.
21 years.
If you have somebody in your family, so it could be dad, husband,
no, this is nice, man.
Uncle, who really appreciates rum, like
it's a nice bottle.
Listen to me. It is. It's
giving class.
This is maybe my third or fourth bottle of this. This made me and my brother fall out. Me and my older brother. I love him dearly.
Wait, finish off the rum?
Nah, man tried to pressure me to open this rum.
And
man, I said to him, Brethren, you're not a rum man like that. I'm not going to bust. You know, man that like drink rum and like, mine was 10, 15 years ago. I think now, as he's aged a bit more, I'd happily open one for him. But at the time, I never really had him as a rum connoisseur. I thought it was a bit of an... It was a waste of rum.
Thing. Yeah, just bust my bottle.
Yeah. It was a waste of rum to give it to him at the time.
Yeah.
And we fell out from talking for a while. One of our many fallouts. But this here, guys, in regards to Jamaican rum, this is the creme de la creme.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Firstly, you don't chase this under any circumstances. Touch of ice. Touch of ice. This is as smooth as it comes. This is beautiful. Everything about this is beautiful. And I don't think there will be a rum that we will preview on the Rum and Reasoning podcast that will be superior to this.
Yo. We're gonna have to edit that out, bruv.
You can bring your Diplomatico. You can bring your Diplomatico. You can bring your what's it? Dominican.
Nah, man.
You can bring whatever you want.
You're gone too far, bruv. Diplomatico. I'm coming with Diplomatico next week. I'm gonna taste this today, and we're gonna come with the Diplomatico next week, and then we're gonna run that.
I'm gonna look direct at the camera.
Look, I'm looking directly at the camera.
All of my island brothers.
Bold speak here.
All of my island brethren, especially my Bayesian brothers, because you guys.
Oh, stop this, man! Stop
this! Hey!
Stop this!
You have some high quality rum.
Stop this!
Bring it. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, bring it. All right. As I said, I've got a second bottle, but this is What
are we saying on the rumometer?
Yeah, the rumometer can't talk to this. Yeah?
No rumometer.
The rumometer can put down for today. Yeah.
Because 10 out of 10.
I brought the big guns out.
10 out of 10. You said 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm gonna provisionally agree to the 10 out of 10 because you said no chase. I'm gonna drink this off.
Yeah.
And throughout the episode, I'm gonna try it.
No problem.
And if it's not 10 out of 10, try and know that I will have an appendix to this video,
please do.
where I just talk on the
remember
rum.
Remember his palate is of Bayesian and Guyanese descent, so it's a bastardized palate, so he may not be able to fully appreciate this rum. But I've spoken on the rum too long.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make
Let's
that.
hope that it can live up to your thing. Anyway, go on. What's the conversation about today?
Excuse me. All right. Today's conversation is. Oh gosh, Shaco, I'm getting old, you know, bro.
Being honest, how crap Tottenham Hotspurs is. That's a different argument.
Let's not talk about that.
That's a different argument.
Leave that.
And I'm a Spurs supporter for those, for my many sins in the previous life.
I have.
Go on.
I've come to the stage where I've almost kind of given up on certain conversations in the community because
this is going to be a good one. Go on.
Yeah, like I'm no longer talking. I do my best for the kids. I love the kids. I love young people.
Yeah.
But oftentimes adults. And as a father, what I'm finding is the level of fatherhood, or what is accepted as like being a good dad, or even conversations around fatherhood are so base and are so low. I don't even really want to talk to certain men about their kids. I don't want to talk to certain people about fatherhood and responsibility, because I'm realizing it's a waste of time, and it sickens me, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it genuinely sickens me, and it's going to sound strange, yeah? And the reason why I know that our level, or what we accept in our community, is so low is because what I held as the standard of the type of dad that I wanted to be, yeah, I didn't necessarily 110% derive it from our own community. So I say that to say,
ooh, that's loaded.
Yeah, no, I didn't. There are.
So
don't
saying
get
that
me
you
wrong.
do what? Are you? So you basically saying then that you didn't ascribe to be a dad like your dad was a dad to you?
No, if I'm going to be honest, and you've heard me speak fairly positively about my dad. You've heard me speak.
But you say you didn't view him as a good dad. I got to push back on some of these points, bro, because some of the things that you're saying.
Did I view him as a good dad? I did. There were elements of my fathering that I would have perceived as being positive. However, when I was a youth, a major part of my life was football. Was football. Yeah, and just to give you context, my dad would have been probably, if I think about not my team, if I think about the league of 20 teams, and then you've got in each team you might have a spattering of black dads. You with me? I can remember 2 or 3 of them, man. My dad would have been one of the black dads who came to the games most often.
He came?
Yeah, no, my dad forwarded to the games most often, and in the context.
But then you were living a fucking dream then, bro.
That's my point. It's always been, if there's, all right, so say there's, that's in the succession of 20 teams, so it was maybe about 10. You with me? So you played like 25 games a season. On average, I'd say my dad did 5 to 7 games a season. And he was seen as like a there's a word, it's active dad.
Yeah.
He was about.
But he didn't even live there all the time, did he?
There were times where he wasn't. And to be fair, my dad was coming in from dance on a Saturday. There's times I remember seeing my dad outside. He'd come straight from the dance. He'd catch an hour's sleep outside in the car. And then we'd go football. Enough man's dad weren't doing that. My dad was still active when time there.
Yeah.
Active on the roads. You with me? So credit where credit's due. But fast forwarding 20 years, 30 years, I'm like, yo, the levels are pretty low.
So we have to take that back then, because you did ascribe to be a father like your dad.
Did I ascribe to be a father like my dad? No, I ascribed to be a father like Stuart's dad, or like David's dad, or like Devrim's dad, or Nikki's dad. Because them man is dads. Yeah. I'm going to call certain man's name. I don't know if they'll see this and this, that, and the other, yeah?
And what was that based on? What, money?
No. Them man is dads used to come football every week. They used to also go training, bro, like every week. Their dads were there.
No, come on, man.
Week in.
Stop this, man.
Stop
this, man.
Week in.
You know what, yeah?
Week out.
I think that sometimes...
No, hold on. Consistency.
All right.
And it's a range. You got white youths, Greek youths, Turkish youths, this, that, and the other one. And for the life of me now, I couldn't work out. I couldn't work out.
What was the difference?
Like,
why?
Yeah. And why?
So let me tell you something, bro.
Let me hear your perspective.
I think you are spouting some stuff there, yeah. That we do too much in the black community, which is oftentimes we evaluate the relationships that we have with our parents or our significant adults, through children's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, especially when we're judging black men,
we must lower the standards.
No, not we must lower the standards, but we're judging them through
Eurocentric eyes.
No, forget all that. We're judging them to a standard that oftentimes they can't live up to, because every son, do you get me, wants the ideal dad.
Yes.
Do you understand? However, from my perspective now, having lived a bit of life, from your perspective now, having lived a little bit of life, you appreciate, especially you as someone who works with black youth and is very active in the black manosphere, for lack of a better word,
arguably. But yeah, thank you. I'll take some accolades.
Yeah, you have to understand, bruv, the pressure that comes on particularly black men.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that just because Devon, I don't know these people, I'm just recounting the names that you said,
Dev.
Just because, I don't know, Charlie and
Dave,
Stuart, whoever they were, their dads were able to be there. You can't really buck up your dad on that, because you don't know what battles that he had to go through or was going through. Well, maybe you do.
Yeah, I do.
All right, fine.
No, seriously. Yeah. As I said, out of all of the man them, don't get me wrong, I give my dad
I'd put it to you,
but
bruv.
I know what he was going through.
But I would put it to you, bruv. No matter what you think, you know, you can still only, even though you're a big man now, you can only still really be biased and be looking at that a lot of the time from the child's perspective of who you was as that little boy, at 12 years old, wanting your dad, well, whatever it was, 9-year-old, 8-year-old, wanting your dad to be on the pitch. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So I think sometimes, I don't want to live in this part of the argument. It's just something that I wanted to touch on, because I think that's very true.
But do you know why? Do you know why I'm going to counter?
I've had other conversations like that as well, about great men who've passed away, and then all of a sudden it just flips back to some, like, not trivial argument, but it comes up to some shortcoming, and I'm just like, you know what?
Do you know what it is?
Why do we do that, man? Why do we do that so much?
I'm able to contextualize. As I said, I've contextualized what my dad was at.
When people talk about, when people talk about Winston Churchill,
talk about what?
Winston Churchill. I'm just throwing this out there as a mad one. Like, hero, hero, boom, boom, boom. Do you get me saying? It's very few people that, even though he had such Gandhi, all of these men are people that had dark past, dark.
I love my dad. Dad.
He's not up there with Winston Churchill.
Dad, I love, like everybody knows.
All right, go on.
I love
anyway,
my dad for the
full the argument, bro. Full the argument.
Flaws and all.
But he weren't no Churchill or Gandhi.
He was a great man in his own right. You're going too far now, brother.
No, the reason why I'm saying that, though, is
they're flawed. They're flawed.
They're
human beings.
Human beings are flawed.
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. All right.
What I'm talking about is I'm talking about the standard and the level.
Yeah. Talk your talk, bro.
It's the standard and level of what do we accept. It comes from, we listened to a clip earlier on.
Yes.
Of a podcast that was actually filmed here. Yeah.
All right, don't bait up too much.
I don't
bro.
business. Yeah, I don't listen, Shaker, you're not listening to me. I got to the stage, I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not hiding and talking it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a platform. Maybe on my own platform I can be a bit more reserved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you've got man talking about what's it? The amount of youth, like they've got between 10 and 3 youths, multiple baby mothers. You got man talking like active, like no shame, brethren. My thing is, where the rotted is your shame?
Mm-hmm.
Because even with my dad would sit down and say there were certain elements that he wished he could change or so on and so forth. Because that's the level.
I watched the clip. It was like a Ninja Man thing. How many baby mother?
Yeah, not even that. 22 baby mother and rare.
21 baby.
And it's a joke. It's a joke, and it's something that's reinforced. And
that clip was
wild, bro.
It was pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
It was wild, and I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, as you said, I chat to the youths.
Yes, you do.
That I will have them I talk to these youths, and I will have conversations as a black man that you as their mums or whoever may never be privy to.
Right.
Because one of them man thing they know, the man that can sit down with me and like says real, And I'm saying, yo, do you understand the impact that this low base level of this low entry level to fatherhood is having, where man's talking about, I don't really chat to that youth there, but like I'm with this gal now, and I'm more you're in a new relationship with a woman, and you kind of amongst her youths more than you're amongst your own flesh and blood.
It's madness. It's wild. It's wild.
And like, we're just talking about it. Why I don't understand, and this is one of the things I'm going to put, is why is it that there's certain things within our community, that are like no-go areas. Like, if you find out a man's done X or you find out a man's done Y, he is. But we accept a lot of this in our community. Man who don't really look after their youths.
Do we? Oh.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Do we accept it?
Yep.
And is it as much of an issue
because they're giving platforms?
Is it as much of an issue as? Because you know what?
Listen. Make sure I get my data correct.
I need to throw this out there, yeah, because I really would like to see the statistics on it, yeah.
I was about to quote a statistic, and then
most of my peers, you understand, like, they check for their children.
Yeah.
They typically tend to be married. Do you get me? And if they're not married, and they've got, I don't know, maybe a child or two, it typically tends to be like two kids. So I don't know. I don't really.
Okay, so what's your norm? What's your norm?
What do you mean? What's my norm?
You just said so. Most
a norm. The norm is like married with kids, isn't it? What is the norm? That I don't understand it. I understand that there's a swathe of our community here that's on the baby mother and the baby father team.
That's the majority of our community, isn't it?
That are on the baby mother, baby father team.
Yeah. So when I say majority, that's over 51%.
Are you gonna pull that stat up?
I'm googling it, but I can. I'm not gonna quote.
I want to see the stat to know that that's true.
I can quote confidently.
Yeah.
Confidently, and I know people are gonna be in the comments. Done the argument. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. I'm happy to say.
Right.
Majority, i.e., over 50%.
Yeah.
Of children born in the last census, which would have been 2021, 2021, born, I would say more specifically in the Black Caribbean community.
I think it's in all communities though, because there's a breakdown.
There is an increase overall.
Yeah.
But there is a disproportionate amount of Black Caribbean children who are born clean out of wedlock. Clean out of wedlock.
Afro Caribbean.
African Caribbean.
Okay, cool.
Clean out of wedlock. We are from the African Caribbean community. That is a community. Guyanese.
Ghanaian.
Bayesian. I'm Jamaican.
Ghanaian, Nigerian. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you just talking about Caribbean?
The community we come from, we come from the African Caribbean community. I'm talking about our community.
Oh, you're talking about Caribbeans. Okay,
I'm talking about straight Caribbean.
All right, fine.
You is our Guyanese and our Bayesian, me is our Jamaica.
Yeah.
Our children would be under consensus, come under that.
Afro Caribbean, yeah.
Yes. The over 51% of them, come out, and it's significantly more. I've got certain numbers in my that I've kind of played around with over and I've seen.
Yeah. But we're gonna hold that.
We're gonna hold that at the majority.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real, 51 is the majority.
51 is the majority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are you going with this?
Why are these men not pariahs, not shunned, not? I don't understand why they have license to even.
Why they've got such fertile ground to plant their seed.
No, because there are certain elements of the community, or there are certain.
Yeah.
If you kind of represent a certain stance or this, you're shunned, and you can't talk.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah. Is it a class thing?
Everything's a class thing, but nobody wants to talk about class.
It's a class thing, really, isn't it?
It's definitely a class thing, but
because the guy who's got 22 baby mothers, he's not going.
The Ninja Man.
No, I'm just saying in general. I'm just using that as
Ninja Man's in jail.
For this example, I'm classing that as Mr. 22 baby mother. Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be the name of Mr. A. Yeah, the guy, the perpetrator, the perpetrator. Yeah. And I'm saying to you that Mr. 22 baby mothers is not breeding, for lack of a better term, is not impregnating the Chris's things in the community.
I see again. Yeah, the Chris's things in the community. What are you talking about?
So I'm talking about,
because what's Chris at 40 and what's Chris at 20 is two different things, bro.
Right. So the guy.
Firstly.
All right. So let's establish a couple of principles. Yeah.
Yes.
Or not principles, but
yeah.
Hypothesis.
He's breeding very vulnerable young ladies.
Right. That's my point. He's not out here rinsing the women who are the creme de la creme of the Afro Caribbean community. Yeah. No, it's the truth, though, right? I'm asking you a question. Is it Mr. 22 baby mothers? Is he out there finessing? I don't know, whoever Fiona who went to London School of Economics and got a first, and is now working for an American bank.
I doubt it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Big up Fiona.
Right. So he's really preying on, like you said, like a vulnerable subsection of the community that is really out there for whatever it is that he's doing. Yeah. Which is probably going to feed into the stereotype of young, bad boy, aggressive, got things.
You know, I got things.
Got things, as in typically men who are able to prey on more vulnerable members of females in society are able to lure them with trinkets.
Do you know
things?
What? Do you know,
so when you talk about things,
no, 20 years ago, like maybe when they had their first set.
Is that not?
When they had their first set of youths,
I'm very far removed from this, bruv. So I'm just.
This is what I'm saying.
I've been married for a very long time. Yeah. I've been out of the dating scene, so I have. What would I say? I have assumptions in my mind of how it works. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I'm not dead. I'm in the community, blah, 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 but I'm asking because obviously you know better than me. I would assume.
Do you know? I think when we get to this age,
I
think the balance. I think in our 20s, that would have been what's running. You're 100. You would have hit the nail on the head. The guy who's maybe out there active, seemingly.
Whoa. So are we saying that Mr. 22 baby mother is a big man that's breeding
He's now
things?
40, bro. He's our age, bro. He's now our age. You're not talking about kids.
Okay, so you're talking about a guy our age.
Yes.
It's good to clarify. You're talking about guys our age.
He's on his third or fourth.
Who are finished now. They're not breeding up no more.
No, they've
just rinsed already.
They're still breeding. The biggest you is like 20.
Yeah, you got.
And they're just having.
You have to blame the women. You have to blame the women.
You have to blame the women.
You have to blame the women at this point.
Ooh.
You have to blame the women
Why?
at this point. Because if at this point the only people who have the power to stop Mr. 22 baby mothers, it's the truth,
From 23.
Yeah, is the females who are allowing him to go throughout the community and run amok.
Right, so let me.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Let me just land the plane. I'm nearly there. He can see the flipping runway from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is that if you have been in jail and you've got 2 children from 2 baby mothers, right? At some point in our dialogue as a female, you're courting me as a man, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? Let's use the proper terms. You're courting me, yeah? You want to get peace, right? I've met your representative who's really nice and he's really nice and he's really charming and blah, 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 blah. And he's broke down all of my defenses, yeah? Fine.
You ain't got no defenses.
Wait, stop. So now we're running. I remember, I'm not Fiona who's really got her head screwed on. I'm maybe coming with some emotional damage. I'm maybe coming with a broken family myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you broke down my defenses in an attempt maybe that of the promise that I don't know. You're gonna make my family unit whole. You're gonna be there to provide and protect whatever it is. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. At this point now that you've kind of broken through the barrier and your representative is now done his job and I'm getting to meet the real you, I've established that you've done a little bit of time and that you've got 2 baby mothers with 2 different situations.
You say time, you got jail.
Yeah, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't care. But I'm just painting a picture, innit? Yeah. At this point, it's shut down. I can't afford to become any more of a statistic, yeah, with my 2 children or my 1 child out of wedlock, yeah, to come and join you and creating 3rd and 4th and 5th. You have to blame the women.
Sorry, I was looking for this list.
Yeah? I think it's because look, at a certain point for those gentlemen, yeah, it's bad dick discipline, right? But for a female who's gonna be oftentimes left to carry the
baby, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. You have to be extremely selective, and you have to take ownership of that. Do you understand? You can only point the finger so much. Yeah, you can point the finger, but for every finger that you point, your other fingers are pointing back at you, saying, "Why were you so stupid to allow this to happen? Didn't you qualify?" Because you know what you could get at a certain point, bro. If you say
when you were 20, and you made that mistake.
Let's say they are 20. No, let's say they are 20. Let's say that they are 20 or 23 or whatever it is. They've got one, and this is the next one. They're trying to make the family unit whole or whatever it is. They realize they made a mistake or whatever it is, yeah? There's only so many times you can get a box in the boxing ring and fall for a left hook. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Do you know
without being called a poor, without having to take some of the ownership on the fact of, you know what, you're shit at boxing. Yeah?
Do you know
maybe you're shit at picking men.
And this is something, and I think...
And I'm just playing devil's advocate.
And it comes down to...
Because I realize that oftentimes these women, are, as we've established, vulnerable women and vulnerable men out here who are
do you know something?
Making a lot of mistakes.
And you know something I'm finding as well, and this is actually becoming quite disturbing. I spoke about it on the More Education platform.
Yeah,
where women are actually having children, and they don't actually business
if there's a man there or not.
If they don't care, because they genuinely are of the belief, that they
don't need no man.
They don't need no man to raise no youth.
Right, let me ask you a question. Why are they not pariahs? Because we were just said, why are they, along with these men, not pariahs?
Women?
Those women.
Oh, mate.
Why are they not pariahs?
Why are those women who believe they can't...
Why are those women, like those men who have a lack of dick discipline, why are those women who have a total disregard for their womb? Yeah?
Oof,
right? We're gonna have to edit that out.
What do you mean by this? What do you mean by disregard for their womb?
If you're gonna let someone come and shoot up the club,
no, they want the child. No, they can come and have the child. They can have the child. The man, it doesn't matter if he's Billy the Billionaire or Tommy the Tramp.
Stop this. From time immemorial, it's always been understood, that it takes a unit. It takes a family unit, to raise
But there are examples out there that show you, and I've had this conversation, and I have to sit and listen, where, like, I know examples of women who have, you know what I mean, not necessarily had a man, and the kids have come out all right.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they do it? They generally don't believe.
I get that, but...
No, tell me what you get, because I struggle with it.
I understand that there may be some examples, some successful examples that you can point to.
Yes.
Of
women.
Of strong, independent women.
Black women.
Or other races who are able
other
to...
Races don't, other races
they don't come into this.
Statistically speaking, other races tend not to have this as a problem of the majority.
All right, fine.
Where they're having a bag of youths outside of wedlock.
All right, fine. But just painting that the argument for the unicorn statistic, I appreciate that there are strong independent women out there who some may be able to point to say this is a successful example of a woman who was able to raise strong, vibrant children who've become great contributors to society without any real male influence. Maybe an uncle here or there or selected role models, I don't know, swimming coach or whatever it is. I think they're unicorns, But outside of
what do you mean by unicorns, by the way?
I mean unicorn as it's something that is like a mythical beast. I mean unicorn in the sense that it's, although it may exist, it's not a common thing.
Yeah.
It's not something that, we can cite to the sources. Well, just look at what's happening in Hackney. Hackney's rife with them. Just go to Birmingham. Go to Swansea, and there's just whole communities, the swathes of communities of just winning
children, just smashing it,
killing it. Yeah, no, it's a unicorn. Maybe you can point. Maybe you
go to Hackney and look at the swathes of black children raised by single mums
winning now,
who are just killing it. Like,
It's not
Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, King's.
It's not even education. It's just about being balanced members of society who can contribute and can hold their own. It's not always through education. But anyway, I digress. The point that I'm trying to make
How's
is,
your daughter doing at uni, by the way?
She's doing fantastic, actually.
Okay,
fantastic.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to make here is the point I'm trying to make is that it's always been understood that the best way for rearing children is to have a two-parent household. All the statistics. Let's take it back to the statistics. Yeah. All the statistics point to two-parent households as being the most beneficial way to raise. Not the only way. Not only way, but the most beneficial way to raise rounded children. I'm right in saying that. Yeah. You know the stats.
You're asking me.
I'm right. Yeah.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. Yeah.
Because my original question was, why are these women?
I've come to the conclusion.
I want to go back to the womb. The reckless womb management.
I'm not gonna walk with you down that one.
Why not?
I've come to the conclusion.
Why not?
I've come to the conclusion.
Why is it a double standard? Why are you comfortable with me saying that these men don't have dick discipline,
but the women have what? Reckless womb.
Reckless womb management.
Me.
Reckless womb management. Reckless.
I already answered.
Womb. WWM.
I already answered that.
WWM.
Because we live in a society. Yeah. That I am very shortly going to be
departing from.
Yeah. Because I've got such a headache and I'm so tired, where I can watch the barometer where it is now what you're saying doesn't matter what the stats say. It doesn't matter what you could have stats up the wazoo. Yeah.
Well, forget that argument. Let's just deal with while you're here, let's deal with it.
Let me finish. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the stats say.
Yeah.
The accepted concept and idea and value is that I can do
whatever I want.
By myself. And that I have the ability to produce the results, that are exceptional. And the truth is, I'm going to go back to these youths, because the majority of the youths of our generation, and this is where the majority started, and I would be in that statistic,
Yeah. Single parent
households. So you see the youths, them that that are dissed as whatless baby fathers, this, that, and the other. Most of them man there, if you track it, would have come from
single parent
the exact same families that you're producing, but you're of the belief that for some, I don't know if you've been bitten by a spider, I don't know if you touch kryptonite, I don't know what.
Mad cow disease, whatever.
I don't know what it is.
Dodgy beef burger.
You're going to beat that statistic. And I can't. Yeah. And I've got to the point where he said, you know what?
Yeah.
You can't see, and I'll say it stone cold and count, the monsters that you're producing. Yeah, you cannot see, and you will not accept the monsters that you're producing. Go back to the second clip where we were listening to women talking about, like domestic violence in the home, and it's black boys. You know how many black boys are punching up their mums in the yard? Do you know how many black boys, like, where they get that testosterone kicks in? And they can't. We spoke about it, and their mum can't chat to them, bro.
That's troubling.
Like, my son is 17.
Yeah, that's troubling.
My son is 17. He's got me on height. Got me on height.
So if you step to your wife now, she'd be in a problem, realistically.
Nah, that's different still. She would.
She could carry it on, yeah.
I'd fancy her chances, but the fear, he could never. He could never, because he could never. But God forbid, if that's a single parent dynamic, and he, like, I don't know, he's had a bad day, he's struggling to manage his emotions because he's not really been taught by a man how to manage your emotions as a man, and he switches, worries in the dance, as they say. But I can show you DMs, I can show you comments where there are mothers and women who are genuinely saying, like, nah, you don't necessarily need a dad to be able to have these conversations. You don't need to. I'm like, is it?
So where do you think? Do you know? I've got my personal opinion.
Tell me. Let me sit back. Yeah. I want to hear yours for my sheer entertainment purposes. Let me sit back.
I think, that the real challenge that we have here, and the only real way of correcting these issues in the community, and this is just my it's not a colour. And these are, remember, this ain't my field, but as a person, I've got an opinion.
I want to hear your opinion.
My opinion is that young girls, need to be taught how to pick men more. I think you're putting it back on the women. I'm putting emphasis on the women, because ultimately they are controlling the gateway that allows some irresponsible men in our community, to really create disasters, as you said, monsters out here.
Monsters.
Right. And the reason why I'm saying that is these, you know what, you're gonna have these 1 or 2 cases, but really oftentimes, we watched the clip earlier on, right? A young man sat down and talked about there was some kind of debate where they didn't want to say how much children the young man has, young man, he looks like a younger guy, could be a big man.
He's about our age, bro.
The other gentleman, right, cool. And I think they ended somewhere saying, I don't know, it's between 5 and 10 or whatever. That's a problem. Not the fact that you've got so many children, because if all your children are well cared for, they come from a balanced state or whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. But when you're talking about multiple hit and run households, and you're
not Elon Musk.
You're not Elon Musk. But it even goes to the Nick Cannon argument, Well, Nick Cannon's got a lot of kids, right?
A lot of kids.
But he's a wealthy guy. But you have to appreciate, even if you're one of the wealthiest men out there, if you've got a lot of children from different mothers, there's going to be a differentiation, because unless you're running some harem business, where all of the women all live with you and it's all a polygamous open setup.
Everyone's supporting everyone psychological needs.
Yeah, everyone is kind of divided because each of them have got their own mums, which means they've got their own little issues and their own little clique kind of thing, innit? So you can't really split yourself into multiple people to really give all of those children the balanced fatherhood experience, fatherhood input that you need. It's impossible. Someone's gonna miss out somewhere along the line. 100%. And I don't know, like speaking to the elders and stuff and just seeing like people who typically came from big families, moved from the Caribbean, in the psychological issues that big families have when you've got children who don't feel like they're getting enough love, or maybe they were estranged, maybe they didn't get to go on the trips when everyone else was going on the trips. It's problems, right? So the point I'm trying to say is, ultimately, these guys are like little terrorists in our communities, just going and creating all the problems. Terrorists. Our last line of defense really is the women who are opening the gates to let them come in and perpetuate their crimes. So our women, I gotta say this, I think I gotta balance it out because I don't think this gets talked about enough. I think that for the numerous terrorists that we have in our community, sexual terrorists, running around and committing all these crimes, creating all of these children that they have no intention, broken homes, right? I don't think that we really are as hard on the women that pick poorly. I think in the Afro Caribbean community, I think that women in particular are extremely poor at picking mates.
I don't think. Hold on.
Extremely poor.
I'm going to bounce off that point. Yeah. I don't think we're hard on anybody personally. I don't. And I love the phrasing and the wording you use. Yeah. You see these terrorists.
Yeah. That's what they are.
They are these terrorists. They are not shunned
at the community
from the community.
But there's no shame in the community no more. There's no shame in the community. There's no morals.
Maybe that's where it is.
People don't go to. I'm not.
Say it. No. Say it. Say what you're gonna say. No. Say what you're gonna say. Say what you're gonna say.
People don't go to church.
Thank you. No, I knew that's what you was gonna say. I knew that's what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say. I think.
Do you know? No, hold on. Before you. Do you know me?
Do you know why people don't go to church?
Do you know me as a man when we were youths who was going to church?
No.
Thank you.
Why you go to church now?
I'm a man who
tries to.
I'm a man who tries to attend church
when you can,
often as possible, and I now understand
why
the importance of it.
But do you know what?
When I grew out of church, then we had it.
Right, I did. I grew up in the church, and I don't go to church at the moment. I don't go to church at the moment, and I certainly don't go as often as I should do.
As often as me, yeah.
I probably don't go as often as you. But can I tell you something of an experience that I had fairly recently when I went to the church? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to throw out a solution without actually tempering. Maybe there's some reasons why people are not going to church. Yeah, I went to a church. Yeah, and genuinely, as a married man, yeah, I didn't know where to put my eyes. Honestly, I didn't know where to put my. I didn't know. Sadly, because people don't carry Bibles to church too much anymore, yeah? It's on the phone and this and that. I didn't have my Bible to open my Bible and put my eyes on the word. But bro, when I went to church, yeah, and I'm not telling you, I'm not going to throw no churches under the bus, right? I might put in the comments still. I might put it in the description. It was like a dance.
The levels, yeah.
It was like a dance. It was like the women were dressed in such a manner, yeah, where I felt like, you know what? Back in the day, when I used to go to church as a lad, yeah, this could have never run. It could never run. Because it was almost like I said to you, if you would have told me that a lot of the women that were at church, were planning to go to a secular function, a brunch, straight after church.
Like a women's power brunch.
No, like
reggae brunch.
Reggae brunch.
Lovers rock brunch.
Not lovers rock brunch, like house and garage brunch.
Oh, shit.
Ibiza, whatever it is, reunion brunch. Like if you told me whatever it was, House Nation, I would have fun. Bruv, it was out of control.
You know what? That's interesting because I saw something the other day, yeah?
So...
Hold on. I saw something the other day where say the Lambeth Church of England, whatever, Christmas, he did a thing in a hoodie. And everyone was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, the fuck? What a money I felt it was condescending because I was thinking, yeah, like you're doing that to connect with Lambeth and the people. But no, we're people with standards.
Slackness has entered the church, bro. Slackness.
Do you think slackness has just entered the community? And when you say slackness, we don't mean like just a dropping of standards, a falling. Because I remember, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care. Yeah, I remember, when I had my first child and not being brought up in the church. Yeah. I didn't really understand. So I had my first child, and the mother, she was defellowshipped. Yeah, she was defellowshipped from the church, and because
baby out of wedlock.
Because she had a baby out of wedlock. Yeah. Like,
it's a poor representation, isn't it?
If she went to sing, she wasn't allowed to stand on it. And I never really understood. Do you with me?
Yeah.
I remember
you just thought it was dark.
I was like, I feel bad for you, yeah? You see now, bruv, if that was me, I'd be the first one at the front of the chest saying,
come to the bar.
Yeah, defellowship. Yo, if she even tried to step on the thing to sing, yeah? Would have been the first one to, where's she going? Where's she going?
Oh, Lord.
And I can literally pinpoint, like, and I remember that being a big thing, and there being like, looking back at this.
So you were one of the terrorists.
That's what I was going to say. I wasn't one of the terrorists.
Oh dear.
I can see how it could be framed in that way. You might think that, yeah, but you're 100% right. I'm going to kind of take from a different perspective, and I've been saying this for time, and I'm a firm believer in this, and it's something I really think you should. Somebody who has children, yeah, especially a man of a certain standing, a man who comes from a certain family. When I say family, it's like
a dynasty kind of thing.
Yeah, like you don't come from like no idiots. Your children are gonna inherit stuff.
Yeah,
you get me.
Yeah.
I personally, I've been saying this.
What?
There's only one way.
Go on.
And it's arranged marriages. Yeah.
No, I'm not for it.
I know.
I am and I'm not. I am and I'm not. I am and I'm not. I don't think that.
And when I say, hold on, there's a difference between forced marriage and arranged marriage. You're aware of that? What I mean by arranged marriages is,
you know what's surreal?
You can't.
It's surreal that when I get together with my peers, that we're having such similar conversations that touch on similar points. Because I just literally went out with another friend recently, and what I was saying to him is, we were talking about the different projects we got going on and blah blah blah, and what I was saying to him was, at the moment, my focus, because my children are now kind of, older. They're hitting their kind of 20s, they're coming into kind of departure out of school and into like real adulthood kind of levels. You get me? You know, womanhood, manhood, whatever. I'm now looking at different things. So that I'm looking at, all right, well, cool. You know what? Where can I drop my eldest daughter, or how can I give her access to be around the most eligible men?
Yes.
And I don't think that's in the UK.
All right.
Based on where she's gearing up to
everything you've put into your daughter.
Yeah, yes, including that. But based on the metrics in terms of like her trajectory, do you understand? The biggest risk that you have for your daughters is that they will
one of the terrorists.
Basically, argument for is that they're just going to get bred up by someone.
Terrorist.
Yeah, a terrorist who's going to circumvent their future.
Yeah.
Because I had the conversation, and the conversation was also about
one
minute, just to draw on this, because we were talking about other school friend.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about
some of the women know.
Yeah, okay. School friend. So we were talking about some of our peers and how out of a few of our peers, you know the person as well, how one of their fathers at the time was rinsing. Rinsing in the sense of really accomplished city boy.
I know you're talking about.
Doing his thing.
I knew you were talking about.
Doing his thing, various different kids or whatever it is. That nice set up family household, big house.
I know
just hitting all the metrics.
As soon as you said it,
you know what I'm talking about.
I knew exactly
hitting all the
somebody
metrics.
who I looked up to. Bro.
Right.
I looked up to my
man. But we also went down the thingy of, okay, so daughter A, daughter B, daughter C, son D, son E, son F, and there was like some. How can I say it then? That in a respectful manner, there was some of the young ladies out of the family structure who who had a lot of promise.
Yes,
but they got hit by a terrorist, and then it just went to kind of like a little bit like
big suitcase.
Not only that, it went to like a little bit. It went to a little bit of a kind of respectfully, like a little bit of a kind of like, oh. You know, one of them ones that that was sad kind of thing.
Do you know how heartbroken I'm in hearing this?
Right, but then at the same time, in the same conversation, you had, what about daughter F? Oh no, done really really well, running the flying the flag. So what I'm saying to you is, you have different risks in it when you've got your children, right? Your boys, you're like, oh, I don't want you to get swept up into the wrong company and make a mistake that's going to take you off course, and then time, and then you got to build it all back. Whereas with your girl children, typically you're like, if I manage to get you set up on a trajectory, I just really want to get you to find the right mate and not become a statistic who gets hit by a terrorist. Do you understand? So my thingy, this leads me back to my point. Yeah, I hope I'm not over talking.
No, go on. I want to say you're gonna. My
point is, so my point is, to touch on the arranged marriage thing. What I was saying is, based on trajectory of my daughter, another country where there's a bit more of a black middle class, and there will be more options. Because for me, I think that because we are so small in number in the UK, I think that there's just not a large swathe enough of communities where you can be like, all right, these are your blue chip, these are your blue collar.
If I just want to let you know,
men, go on.
Just want to let you know,
go on.
If you would like me to help,
no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the arranged marriages. Me personally, yeah. Not that I think not that I think they're a bad thing. I think that with society the way that it is, and as someone who travels, there are suitable locations that young men and young women, older men and older women, depending on where you are in the dating game.
With the knowledge you have. With the knowledge you have, I agree with everything you're saying. Do you not feel that you have to somewhat engineer that for your daughter to be in the right place at the right time?
Somewhat.
That's all I'm
saying. I don't think necessarily yes and no. I don't think it's as drastic. I think the
you see where you're talking about, like the black middle class. Let's say, for example, there is a at Howard University are doing a alumni weekend at I don't know.
Sloane Square.
Yeah,
UK team.
Yeah. All of the Howard alumni who are in the UK, they're doing this dinner. You've heard about it, and you said to your daughter, "Do you know something? Yeah,
This is somewhere you should go.
This is somewhere where you need to be."
Correct.
Yeah. You see, when I talk about arranged marriages,
that's what you're talking about.
I mean
events like that, matchmaking events.
There should be where there are a certain class of people, and like
I don't think you have the numbers. I don't think you have the numbers in the UK for it.
So, for example,
I don't think you have the numbers.
I believe you do. And I think you need to be intentional.
And I think
because the more I'm talking, is more protective of your daughter.
Yeah,
I'm even becoming because I've seen the time, the effort.
Yeah,
and I think again because you're in this kind of business bubble, and I'm in this education that's quite wide.
Yeah.
I don't think you're accounting for the amount of terrorists that are out there. I really don't think.
No. Ultimately, no, it's not that. It's not that. I think ultimately, as a parent, we just spoke about one of our peers' dads and how super uber successful that he was as a young man and whatever. I think that ultimately, you have to understand that all you can do as a parent is try to instill as much as you can, and there's a certain element of trust and allowing your children to make their own choices that you have to surrender. And I think trying to fight that too much and be over protective and trying to fill yourself up with some kind of stake which you don't really have is setting yourself up for punishment, in my opinion.
I'm of
guiding,
the
yes.
When you've built up a certain level, when you've
guiding, yes. Control, no.
That's where I'm at. Guiding,
yeah.
Because there's so much at stake, bro.
There is, but ultimately, what I'm trying to say to you is this: yeah, it come like, I don't want to go biblical on it, but it comes like certain biblical stories and parables that are in my mind. Yeah, ultimately, you need to show yourself approved. Do you understand? To be given more. So if you've got children, do you understand? And like you mentioned earlier on, they're going to inherit various different things, various portfolios or whatever it is. Even if it's just your blessing.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Yeah. You need to allow those children to go out into the world at some point and show you what they're made of. You can't do it all for them. Otherwise, what you're really creating is your
an Andrew.
I don't know about an Andrew, but what you're doing.
You know Prince Andrew?
Yeah, like Andrew. It's like someone who's constantly
spoiled.
It's someone who's just got training wheels on forever, and you never know how they will perform because they've always got the training wheels on.
Do you know, in other aspects of life?
Yeah, you would agree, but with this, no.
With this one, I think because of the critical mass that we've reached, it is. And again, I love the term you use, because of the terrorists that are roaming the community.
Yeah, serial offenders.
Like, and it's not just the girls.
They need a
not
mass
just the girls, I'm thinking about like your boy. Yeah. You've got some girls who are super programmed, like grandmother, mother, and they'll see your son, Bridget. They will see.
And yours. Don't point at my son like that. And yours too.
I was walking somewhere with my son the other day, and I walked through. I got through, and I'm realizing, like, women are watching, man. Like, and I don't think they're watching me. And I'm wondering, is it the vibe of me and my son kind of just rolling through somewhere? And I sat there, and I was talking to him, and I realized, that's the first I realized, like, you don't carry yourself your age. He doesn't carry himself his age. He looks a bit older. He looks maybe in his early 20s. He's got some broad shoulders, big smile. I'm saying to myself, yo, I can't let these terrorists act. And he's so innocent. He's a bit sweet. You know what I mean? He's a bit innocent. He's a bit green. Can't let them yellow come.
Mash up the legacy.
Shaky.
Come
wiggle,
implant themselves in the family.
Wiggle.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's I take it to kind of round up the conversation. I'm glad that we've kind of ended it in this way, because it can be very controversial as well. And I'm glad we focus on the kids.
Yeah.
I think where the middle ground is, I'm on like some straight arranged marriage thing, and you're on some circumstantial thing, and there should be some element for them to develop. But I think if it's not to a certain, I would say, engineered, where you're saying to your daughter, so church is an example. You with me? Like, there's certain events you need to be at. there are certain things that you must
I don't know.
position
You know,
yourself
I think that
to achieve a certain goal.
You've touched on the church, and I just want to throw out some warning shots for the church. Yeah, I think that my warning shots for the church, because I know there's a lot of people online that are
anti-church.
No, not anti-church. I know there's a lot of people who are part of the church community and have a lot to say for the church. But as someone who was raised in the church and is now somewhat outside of the church, but still teeters on the edge, I'm invited to functions, and I probably visit church maybe a handful of times a year. Slackness and morality decay. You understand? Or I've overcome the church.
You can't say the reason why I'm going to,
because I'm not in there.
Because you're not in there. You're not making a difference.
Brother,
it's all well and good for you to say it from an external perspective.
From what I saw recently, and it was at more than one church that I've went to, yeah. And these churches just so happens, because I've got a lot of really good Christian brothers in my circle who are active in the church, who have invited me to some of the most what would I say, popular churches, South London, East London, North London, right? Bro, I know that there's different denominations and stuff, but some of these really big, well-attended churches, they're not places for married men. And that's a problem. That's a problem.
I hear you.
Yeah? So I'm just throwing that out there. That's something that maybe, just me saying that, would start some conversations in some groups or whatever it is. Just maybe, I wonder why he would say that kind of thing. Maybe we need to, but what I'm seeing, bro, like, that's not what I know.
I hear that. Maybe that's something for another conversation.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
I do want to say that I think I'm gonna leave you on that one. I'm gonna
You're gonna leave that for me.
What I'm gonna leave you on is, again,
because I'm not there.
It's more the arranged marriage thing, bro. I want you to think about. Because your thing goes 2-3 generations deep, yeah.
No, I think about it,
and especially I know we're talking about the same person, because he started that thing on his back. He didn't come from it. Didn't. Yeah. We're now 2 generations.
Yeah,
you've been smart enough to be able to take what you were given and parlay that, and maybe 2, 3, 4, 5x that. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah,
10x that. Are you willing? To gamble? I don't have you as a gambler, yeah? Are you willing to gamble that, yeah, on the mismanagement of affairs of the heart for your youths, for what you've 3, 4, 5, 10x that?
No, I wouldn't, but
to the next told to your grand youths, to your grand picnic them, to be back to square one. Would you be willing to gamble that? That's all I'm asking.
No, but I wouldn't see it I wouldn't see it as a gamble so much.
You wouldn't see it as a gamble?
Not so much for me, because I think that this is what it comes down to. And this will kind of end it somewhat. Yeah. I'll leave you to summarize, yeah? But it takes me back to the point I was making, yeah? If you ask me who is to blame for the woes of the community, yeah? Equally spent, if not more, just because of the power that they hold to open the gate, women. And wait. Let me land the plane. Poor picking. And one thing that I emphasize on,
and this is what I keep.
One thing I emphasize on.
This is why I keep drawing it back to you and your daughter.
Right. So hear what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to say to you is that what I emphasize on, with my wife, and conversations that we have had since our children, boys and girls, were young, is the importance. We talk about sex. Do you understand? It's not a taboo subject. Do you understand? To say that, boom, you need to wait for this and blah, 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 blah. Those conversations have been had at the dinner table from a reasonable age where it's not too young. Do you understand? Age appropriate. And also, more so importantly, as my children have kind of, reached that, been in that puberty age and going beyond into adolescence, adulthood, whatever, is the importance of picking. And this is something that, you see, we often like to play this game. So
you're saying you're confident. You're saying you're confident because you've had those conversations.
Yes, I'm confident, but I'm also saying that it's conversations that I think that we often want to shy away from having with our children and pretending like they're equal. They're not.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Pick me out your friend.
Our female children, you have to understand, bruv, they've just got more at risk.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And you have to really drill into them. The conversations have to be apparent of how important it is picking a partner.
Okay. So
because a young boy.
I'm going to ask you.
Go on.
And I hear you and I respect that. And as something I wish more parents were explicit. I'm just going to ask you, in 2024, with what's running, are you confident that those hard-hitting conversations are going to be enough to ensure a terrorist doesn't come through
the gate,
doesn't come through
that wolf
and destroy the Sheko legacy? Yeah, like this absolutely decimate the Sheko legacy. I'm just saying, is that conversation? Do you think that conversation is enough? See, yes or no? Like, no pressure. Like,
honestly, as a man of faith, as a man of faith.
Oh, you're a man of faith now.
As a man of faith. Cool, no, look, listen, brother. I know, but just as a product, because oftentimes when people hear that you don't go to church, they do make the assumption, so you're some kind of heathen. Listen, brother, I am a serious man of faith. Yeah. It's just that at this moment in time, church-wise, I haven't really found. I don't know if I've really been exploring, but I haven't really found the right home for me. But in my yard is like a temple to me. You understand? I have my scriptures and I have a very, very.
Wouldn't you say that's being a bit slack? Wouldn't you say that? No disrespect, just to play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. Isn't that?
That's a good question.
Isn't that the exact thing, that element of slackness? Because to attend church and to be a man of God and this, that, and the other takes an element of discipline, in which you've spoken about.
Yes.
But like, I tend to find we use this, like my home is my church, and
I didn't really want to come at it but I have some ideological differences from modern day Christianity.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't really want to come at it from that angle, because I would still consider myself a Christian. Yeah. But based on, me having a very inquisitive mind from early days, I've gone to explore various different sources of information, whether it's the Nation of Islam or it's the Nubian Nation, and various different things. So although I consider myself a Christian, I don't think it's slack, because I think that ideologically there's a certain home that I'm looking for. Do you understand? That doesn't quite fit into a lot of different boxes. But as I said, I do class myself as a man of faith, of extreme faith, actually. And I think, to answer your question, I think that you have to have a relationship with God. And I think that the first and foremost thing that you have to have when you are raising your children and getting ready to release them to the world as adults is to impart onto them the importance of having personal relationships themselves with God. Everything, bruv, that I've done that I can even think about as something good in my life is a byproduct of my relationship with the Most High. So to answer your question fully, I've given a little bit of a background. Yes, I'm confident that my children can make it, because I believe that God will watch over them. And the most important thing that I can do, outside of the child rearing that me and my wife have done, is to impart upon them the importance of having their own relationship and making sure they put that first. If they put God first, moving forward, I'm sure that they will have successful matches and so on and so forth. But I do think, and I'm saying this, I want to end on this note, bro, because I think it's important. I know, that's fine. I'm gonna let you take it home. Yeah. I think, unless you got any questions, I'll answer them about me. But I think that primarily as a parent of two daughters, right? It is extremely incumbent on us and important of us as upstanding members of the community to make sure that our daughters are briefed on just how important them having the right matches are. Because like you said, it only takes one terrorist to go and tip your whole life off its trajectory. And you've got, as a female, you've got more to lose because you end up holding the baby oftentimes. When a young man can pivot.
I'm gonna interject.
Go.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah?
Yes, brother. Talk to me.
I hear what you're saying. And I'm somebody who's looked at, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a young person you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked at the statistics. When I say statistics, like more education has been operating for like 8-9 years. So I've got data. And it was a young lady, comes from a family in Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the family, and there's older boy, girl, young boy.
Was it a middle class family?
I would say it would be a lower middle class, working class, lower middle class family.
Was Tottenham's rife with black middle class families?
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Which isn't often.
Huh?
Which isn't often.
Yeah.
Talked about.
And I've looked at a lot of data, and I've looked at a lot of things, and like especially people who hold similar views to yourself. Yeah. And I do what works. And I looked at this family and I said, how have you guys been able to come out with 3, not just university graduates, 3 university graduates. Something I like about that set of children is they're very well-rounded in regards to sports, outside activities, education, very, very well-rounded children. And it spoke to the parents and this, that, and the other. And the way I connected through this family was actually somebody through their church recommended them to me. And all of the children have a very strong relationship with God, and they're very God-centered family. They're not like a preachy, push it down here.
Yeah.
But I know that they go to church as a family. As the children have got older, they've gone to their individual churches and so on and so forth. There's a lot of prayer involved in what they do. And I used to come from a similar kind of stance as you. And I've looked at it, don't work.
On church?
On kind of church, on Christianity. As I said, you heard me say earlier on today, I wasn't raised in a Christian, God-centered family in that way. We were God-fearing, I would say. I'd definitely say we were God-fearing. But whenever I raised, I'm going to church. All of our data kind of points to this one thing.
Church.
Yeah. You see, when you raise your children in a God-fearing, God-centered house and they're covered with prayer, like they are covered with prayer, the results speak for themselves. Now, that alone has pushed me to be much more God-centered, to begin to pray and cover my kids with prayer. Because I don't come from, and I'm not doing it I'm doing it strictly based on what? Data.
Yeah.
When I sit down and I study the tens of hundreds of families who have come through, and I can look at the trajectory, which one ended up here, which one ended up there. Why? How the hell did you do that? I know what the trajectory is for a youth. You can give me a youth in year 10. I can look at their grades. I can speak to the parents. Hold on. And I know I can pretty much predict. When there are anomalies where you see a youth do this, like, rah.
Where did that come from?
And then you dig down into the other youths. You're like, yo. So going back to, when you're going back to those single mums,
Were they
who
being covered with prayer?
Who are creating unicorns, yeah?
Were they covered with prayer?
Them youths, bro, this isn't, the reason why I can say this to you is because you know where I'm coming from. I'm not on this, I don't come from, I remember sitting down having a conversation with your mum, and your mum talking to me about certain, like, man, I said, yeah, kind of Rastafari, this, that, and the other. And your mother said, yo,
forget that.
Forget that. I was 13 years old. I was in your front room, and I remember your mum saying, yeah. No, she didn't say forget that. She was like, but
she was diplomatic with it.
She was, because she was dealing with a child.
Yes. Man.
I can remember the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I remember an adult
kind of
challenging me and saying,
you
I wouldn't say she wasn't. No, don't diss your mum. Otherwise me is gonna get in an argument. She didn't. she slyly
to scold someone isn't to disrespect isn't disrespectful,
she slyly
bro.
guided me to say, listen, brethren, I hear what you're saying, yeah,
but it's not that.
But it ain't that, you know, brethren. It ain't that. Man, I say, yo, my 13, I don't come from that world. I'm speaking strictly on data.
100%.
So if it is gonna be that, I would say, firstly, as a man of faith and a man of God, it's incumbent upon you to lead your family in that. Yes. Are you with me?
Yes. No, I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Secondly,
but you know where that's come from, and you know I've been very strategic with.
Go on.
School.
What,
so
church schools.
All of my kids have gone to, but not your average church schools.
I'm aware.
So they have a grounding because it's important. It's important, bro. They spend more time in school
than they do
anywhere else, right? No, so you do have to be strategic on it.
It's so important. It's so important. But
on that point, though, what you're saying, because I think it's valid, right? These conversations are not necessarily had all the time, bro. 110%, agree with everything you said. Everything that you said there in regards to how central prayer.
Do you like the way I incorporate your mum into the conversation as well? Was that hard hitting?
No,
because you remember the conversation.
I do remember the conversation. I remember the conversation. But it's not only that, bro. It's just not refreshing to hear that someone come and talk about the importance of God in the household, but back it up with the stats and the.
You know the family I'm talking about.
Probably.
You know the family I'm talking about, bro.
Probably. But I'm saying to you, the stats and the data element of it is really, really important, because sometimes when you're talking about, I just done this whole monologue as well, talking about, you know, having God in your life or whatever it is. Sometimes
it's boring.
Sometimes if that's not backed up by stats, people don't get to understand. But it's critical. Anyway, go on, I'll leave it to you to wrap up.
Yeah, so boy, we've kind of. I didn't, and this is what I love about our conversations. I genuinely love this space because, we come kind of joking and dissing. Oh, fatherhood, this, that, and the other. But I do think we've wrapped it up where you've made a great point. We've become very slack. We've become very, very slack, and I don't want this to be some kind of preachy thing.
Can I just throw something out there though? One thing I would say though, if this makes it if this doesn't end up on the cutting room floor, I do have to big up the Adventist church. I went to school as an Adventist.
750%.
Listen, although my parents are not Adventists.
Do we say I?
We
say what? We say I.
All right. So although my parents are not Adventists, inadvertently, I've had a strong relationship with the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Agreed.
Because I went to school at Adventist, and then it exposed me to all these different churches and family groups who are members of that organization, and then ultimately by default, I ended up sending my children to Adventist schools, right? So it's like, if I'm thinking, because I realized that by throwing out the slackness thing, I've kind of like thrown out a negative towards church. I just want to also throw out a positive and say that, you know what, if I had to choose and look at a community that is firing on all the metrics that someone like myself, you know, kind of upwardly mobile, middle class person who's looking for backgrounds and the right kind of places who has actually looked for the right kind of backgrounds to seed my children in, to be all right, this is a wholesome environment where they're going to learn I would throw Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church particularly in London, but in the wider community as well, as a great place.
Do you know, and just do you know something? When you say slackness, I was talking about it today. I was talking about it today. I was speaking about it in regards to a different issue, in regards to my love of black women, because of how black women have loved me. And I spoke about like a lot of our teachers and the love we receive from kind of black women. So I'm like, I don't know what some man are dealing with, because but you see, when you talk about slackness, you got to remember the Adventist church is a very conservative church.
Very conservative.
It's only as I get older I'm realizing, them man now, the women and men who we grew up with, who were God-fearing men, were very conservative.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? But what's funny?
Going into other churches, when you say it, I'm like, okay.
But bruv, you know what? This is the thing, though.
Woo.
something's happened because in our community, in our wider community, and then we'll wrap it up because I don't want to go too far on here. But in our wider community, bruv, there was a time when all churches were like that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I did grow up in a church, bruv. Listen, people of a I went to one of my friend's granddad's funeral, maybe about 10 years ago, and they talked about the kids. So his uncles talked about being young kids, going to school, going to Sunday school on a yellow bus, right? And when I checked it, blood, I went on the same yellow bus. Like in our community, bruv, that's what I'm saying to you. Like that whole church thing, like a lot of us grew up in it.
So how do you understand? How can we honestly talk about community? A man like
without
you,
church?
No, a man like you.
Yeah.
Who has and I keep saying this, the history and the familial history that you have. And you not be a central pillar
of some church somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm going to pause there. Thank you all very much for listening to Rum Reasoning. We didn't expect it to go on this evangelical pathway, but
it's all right,
we're glad it does all the time. God is good. We will wrap up. I'm just thinking about the juxtaposition of rum and church, but maybe we'll challenge that another time. We'll challenge that another time.
Service done,
thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do all that good stuff.
And that was a lovely episode, man. I enjoyed that one.
Yes.
Thoroughly,
all right.
Man.
Beautiful. Thank you. Next time. Yo.